And how long does the program take to complete?
We're getting there. You're right on target. We're getting there. So aside from the core classes that I've defined for you, there is a requirement to take 2 electives. These are a sampling of the kinds of courses you might take as an elective. And you'll see once again that they kind of fit into the methodology and the technology kind of buckets. Okay? Just holding off on your question for just 1 second, okay? One of the common concerns when I give this this discussion is always, how do I get started? And I would suggest this is how you get started. Okay? If you want to start the program, this is how you start the program. You pick one of the 100 level classes, intro to testing or scripting, you start out. Now, purely my opinion, subject to potentially being wrong because we're all very unique in our needs and in our abilities to learn and such. My opinion, it's best to take these courses and fully get the meat out of these courses before you go progressing on. In my personal opinion, okay, fully get these concepts, fully get the techniques and the vocabulary. Then move forward. Don't be in too much of a race. If you think about it on a sort of a percentage basis, assuming that all the information given in class represents 100%, then think about your ability to retain the information. If you're presented with 100% of the info over the course of the span of the class, 2 months later, how much are you able to retain? If that's only 20 or 30%, that's not very effective or efficient for your learning. It's far better to make sure you get as much as possible and put it to use. Then move forward. Otherwise, this tends to become kind of a mishmash of topics. Okay? It starts to all run together. Okay? So, my own personal opinion, though, is build a solid foundation. This starts to answer your question. The certification is achieved by completing all the requirements within 13 quarters. Okay? 13 quarters.
13, 3 months.
3-month quarters. Okay? So that gives you what? 3+ years to finish it up. Okay? So you've got time. That's not a bad thing. That's actually a really good thing. Let me kind of role play with you a little bit. What I hear is the number one complaint. The number one complaint I hear is, well, if I don't get the certificate done really quickly, then I can't put anything on my resume. What? That doesn't make any sense to me. If it were me, I would have an education section of my resume, and I would start by saying I am actively enrolled in the software test engineer program at Bellevue College. Classes I've taken so far are X and Y and Z, and I keep adding them on. Finishing this certification program and having a piece of paper is good. Finishing this certification program and having both the piece of paper and some real demonstrated skills is far better. How do you get the real demonstrated skills? In our classwork, we do exercises. Outside of class, we give you opportunities for homework. We give you guidance on the kinds of things you can do. If you race through and simply take the courses, you're not going to get all the benefits. Purely my opinion. Okay? Everyone's in their own situation, I understand that. But if you race through this, it becomes a little harder to really retain and be able to demonstrate the knowledge that you're gaining. This sort of speaks to the same thing. In my opinion, and depending on your current skills, take your time, fully learn everything. Take one class from each track. I think of the tracks as being technology versus methodology. That's what I think of as the two tracks, okay? I think my experience with students has shown that it's very difficult to take 2 methodology classes simultaneously. So somebody wants to take intro to test and software test and practice during the same time frame. Very difficult to keep all that straight. Very difficult. Much better take 1 course at a time, okay? If you want to take 2 courses at a time and you want to take 1 programming, 1 methodology, that sounds great. But if you're trying to combine 2 or 3 of these classes, okay, and suddenly it's all kind of jumbling up on you, then you're not getting the real benefit that you're here for. Again, purely my opinion. Everyone has very different learning styles. I completely respect that. But this material is hard. I don't want to give you the wrong impression. This material is hard. Okay? Getting a solid foundation built so that for years to come you can continue to advance in this business, that's hard work. Okay? It's going to require more than just being in class. It's going to require going home and doing some exercises and looking around for opportunities that are there. Okay? Again, my opinion, if you're eager for progress and you're hungry to learn, then I suggest you dive deeper. You get done with class, you're eager to learn, you go home, you start putting this stuff to use. You find volunteer opportunities. You find other ways to practice this. Okay? As opposed to simply taking another and another and another class. You've got to get the knowledge, put it to use, let it synthesize. Then you can really build your skills. Okay? Like I say, this is a complex area. Step you back for one moment. Have I scared anybody totally yet? Have I scared you? I hope not. Okay? I want to step you back for one moment. This information really has nothing specific from the software test discipline. Okay? But it does come from some of the most recent work done about learning in general, and especially learning as adults. Okay? It's all about time spent. 10,000 hours of deliberate practice helps you become an expert at anything. That's the current science.
Does that include nights?
It includes dreams. It even includes dreams. It includes driving home at night. Whatever qualifies you as spending time deliberately engaged in that activity. 10,000 hours, current science says, turns you into an expert. Now, most of you are far from an expert right now. Most of you are at what we would consider a novice level for all of this. That's totally understood. So here's what I'm simply suggesting, okay? I'm simply suggesting be aware that if you want to become an expert in this business, it's going to be a journey. You're not going to do it in a year. You're going to do it over the course of a career. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. Your first goal is to get the fundamentals, start to put the fundamentals to use, start to accumulate hours of engagement with this material. Okay? And as you continue to work with this on a daily basis, as it continues to feed you, you just continue to get better and better and better. Make sense? These are the topics I'll talk about next. I want to open it up for your questions at the moment about classes themselves, and then I also want to give you a chance to take a break and stretch your legs and such.